question, man.
If you are saying Apple's committed to their brand and user base,
Okay.
why would they slow down older phones to make their customers purchase newer and more expensive phones if they cared that much about their brand and the consistency of their brand and their customer base?
You're asking me like I have a direct telepathic connection to Tim Cook's brain on why he did it. The answer is question isn't why. What you should be asking is what did they do about it? Did they admit to it? Did they lose the case? What happened to the lawsuit? None of these answers I have because at the end of the day, I don't care about this little problem. You know why? Because you're looking at a guy that upgrades their iPhone every time a new one comes out.
Samsung traditionally much more open source, allows people to be able to kind of customize a little bit more, have a little bit more freedom. And to be honest with you, like for me, I think this really just depends on like the kind of person that you are and what kind of experience you're looking for as a user.
Yeah, venture hustles, life is really what you make it. Building up your brand is whatever you create it. Really ain't no limit. You just gotta love it. Working day and night, it's all about the venture hustle. Hey, venture hustles. Time to take it to the next level. Let's go.
Welcome back to Venture Hustles Podcast. I'm your co-host Saj, and with me is my ever enthusiastic co-host Jack. Today, we're diving into a massive debate, one that has been the center of tech discussions for years now. Right? We're talking about Apple versus Samsung. Who does it better? So I'll be taking on Apple, and Jack will take the stand for Samsung. So let's get this friendly feud started. How are we doing, man?
Oh, we're doing fantastic. Thanks for the very playful introduction here. Mm-hmm. So, for those of you that may have tuned in on the Elon and Mr. Zucky Boy debate, it's going to be the same kind of style here. So we got producer James here. We'll be moderating this debate and discussion here. Mm-hmm. So we can welcome Mr. Producer here. How are we doing?
Hello. We're doing awesome. How are you guys? Thank you for welcoming me back.
Yeah, man, you killed it last time, and I think this is not going to be as I guess exciting like our fight segment, but I think
it'll be
should still be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
So, producer, let's get the show on the road, shall we?
Let's kick it off. Alrighty. So, both Apple and Samsung have had significant impact on the tech world. What is one defining moment for each of these companies that truly demonstrates their innovative capabilities? Saj, begin.
It's a no-brainer. For me, the most defining moment for Apple was the launch of the first iPhone. And I think it truly revolutionized the smartphone industry, and it has set a benchmark for all future smartphones, right? And more emerging technologies, including those from Samsung. As you know, I think as for pricing,
finish that thought.
Apple's premium pricing strategy aligns with its brand image of offering higher quality products than Samsung. So
now,
what about you?
Samsung may not have such of a defining moment with a defining founder, in Steve Jobs, but for those of you that may not know, Samsung actually supplied Apple with its microprocessors for those first iPhones. Okay? So,
here we go.
Hey, we're here having this kind of debate. So some might say without Samsung, that, everlasting moment of Steve Jobs in his presentation with the black turtleneck may never have happened. So in a way, that defining moment for Apple is also kind of Samsung's defining moment.
What did you say? What was the name of the brand?
Samsung?
Who the fuck is that, man?
Crickets. Crickets. So, yeah, so I think that's, moderator here, if you can kind of take the realm here.
For sure. Second question. In terms of customer loyalty, both brands have devoted followers. What factors do you think contribute to this loyalty for each brand? Jack?
Yeah, this is a really good question. I think for Samsung, it's really based on pricing and just consistency. There and also to the fact that a lot of their products are much more open source than Apple. So for people that want that feeling of more open source, more control, not kind of operating in a box, Samsung is typically for you. Also, not to mention outside of the U.S., Samsung is dominant and it really ain't even close. So that's also something to be said there as well. So again, I think again loyalty. There's not a lot of people that go from Samsung to Apple. So typically they stay there, and now that Samsung's kind of caught up with the watches, the computers, things like that, you never know.
Yeah. I mean, I think Apple's customer base is loyal because Apple offers a complete ecosystem. And I think, being all Apple devices work seamlessly together.
What kind of computer are you using right now? Apple?
Hey, man, what's your phone? What device is your phone?
Got him. Continue.
Which provides it's not Samsung, I'll tell you that much.
Is it Apple?
No.
Okay, continue.
So,
Where's my keys?
moderator, he's interrupting me. I object. But I think it's more than just the individual products. It's the entire interconnected experience between all of the different products that Apple offers, and it provides convenience, simplicity. I mean, you can't argue against that. It's provided something that never existed. Every single type of category of product that you would like to use, from household to work to business, personal, creativity, fitness, activity. Now with augmented and virtual reality, we're going to talk about that, but the reality is Samsung didn't even scratch the surface of that. I mean, they came up with a watch, but there is no ecosystem. It's open source. Great. People always talk about that, but the reality is even in other countries, when you're like, Samsung takes market share there, facts. But to majority of the people over there, if you're going to ask them, hey, would you trade your Samsung phone for an Apple if I undercut the costs on it or just for free? They would say yes.
You don't know that.
I know that. I
No,
lived
you
there.
don't.
I lived there.
No, you don't.
I lived
No,
out of.
you don't.
You've never
No,
lived
you
out of the
don't.
country.
You don't know that.
Come on.
You
I
don't.
know that
No,
for a
you
fact.
don't. No, you don't. This is speculation.
I swear to God.
Speculation.
Ask any of my friends out of the country.
Speculation.
Let's move on.
Yeah, I was just about to say, let's move to the next question here. And just a quick little announcement. Let's let each other finish our thoughts here.
Come on, man.
Don't be so much on the attack. The banter, I love the banter. But
Is this statement directed at anyone in particular?
No.
Okay.
No, just
We
all
all
around.
know
It's
who
a
it's
general
for.
consensus.
We all know who it's
General
It's a
consensus.
general
The moderator
consensus.
said.
for. We all know who it's for.
Question
cut someone.
3. Apple and Samsung have notably different pricing strategies. Can you discuss the effectiveness of each strategy and its impact on their respective brand image? Jack, you first.
It's no secret that Apple has premium, with a capital P, in regards to pricing. We're talking about paying $1,500 for a phone, right? And so, with that being said, Samsung pretty much appeals to everyone else. Now, that's not to say that some of their products are expensive, because they are, but Samsung provides you with a good product that can be used anywhere for a great price. Very, very affordable. And so, in regards to the customers, those are the kind of customers that that they cater towards. And the reality is, in the world, there's more people, unfortunately, let's say, that don't have a budget to be spending that much money on a phone. So Samsung caters to those people. That's what I
Okay.
would say.
Apple's higher pricing strategy is a reflection of quality, innovation, and a seamless experience that the brand is offering, right? That's what you pay for when you buy an Apple product. they're not just buying a product, they're buying into an ecosystem. And I think that this builds that trust, that you kind of, it's kind of like a status symbol, right? You feel proud to use it. Or at least that's how it was when it first came out and evolved over the years. With that, the image is basically Apple's image, period, is premium, luxury, with cutting edge technology. Now, to kind of reflect on what you said earlier, Samsung was one of the most affordable products, like Samsung phones and devices, around that Apple peak, because that's how they were undercutting that cutting edge technology offering that they were offering, in response to, hey, you can get the same thing or get something similar by spending $600, $700, $800 less. Now, mind you, this is very important to note. Samsung copied Apple over the years significantly and gradually increased and is trying to be a premium smartphone company. Now, that's what it's not cheap to buy a Samsung phone unless you buy an old phone. Same thing goes with Apple. And keep in mind that manufacturing costs, of course, Apple has things manufactured in China, but they assemble things and they have an entire team. All their R&D stuff is in the United States. Samsung's everything, top to bottom, is outside. So costs, development, research, everything, significantly cheap. So they don't really have much of a justified reason to have a more of a premium cost other than mimicking Apple. So let me just say that.
You mentioned a word quality. Are you saying that Samsung's a lower quality product than Apple?
No.
That's what you said.
I said quality of when? When did I say that?
In your opening statement, you said that the pricing is based on the quality.
Okay, what's your point?
You're saying it's because it's a higher price, it's of higher quality?
Yeah.
Disagree. How can you say Apple has a better quality phone? How?
Why do you say that?
How?
Because Bendgate?
What?
Do you remember Bendgate?
Well, let's not divulge here or get distracted.
Why do you say that? Every product has quality problems.
But
It's
are you
it's
saying
premium quality.
because
No.
Apple's product is more expensive, it's better quality than Samsung? Yes or no?
I said quality,
yes.
innovation, seamless ecosystem. 3 things.
But I'm focusing on one of those 3 things.
No, I said it's a combination of those 3 things. Is that a key factor? Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
The build quality, the outside, the product, this right here, the metal casing. I mean, they put a lot of emphasis on a design. Has always been a main. I forget the guy that the main designer, still part of it since the Steve Jobs days, is a major part of Apple's everything. They put, I think, 1/3 of their emphasis on developing and delivering a product is purely design based. And now we're talking about UI design. We're talking about physical design, the way it looks, the way it touches. I feel like they put so much time into this. So how is that not a reflection of quality? What's the problem with quality? What's your point?
Are you speaking about Johnny Ive?
Yeah, Johnny Ive. Yeah.
Johnny Ive.
Yep.
Now, I'm not. It was a simple question. Are you saying?
What is your point?
I'm trying to ask you a question that you keep dodging and not
I
really
just
answering.
answered that, didn't I? What would your moderator say?
Moderator says that Saj did answer the question, but he did skip around just a little bit.
Because it wasn't the main focus. I didn't say quality was the only thing.
Oh,
that was one of the
yes,
3 things.
Also, he did list a few things, and you nitpicked one. So based off that, though,
I mean,
Saj, yes or no?
Is quality the only thing?
Well, to Jack's question.
No, his question is wrongly phrased. It doesn't make any sense. I said quality, innovation, seamless integration into an ecosystem. These 3 things make...
Is an Apple a better quality phone than a Samsung, yes or no?
Yes.
How?
That's not what I was saying, but if you're asking that as a direct question...
Well, but based on what you had mentioned, then
I just said,
you would only
build quality.
assume that because it's higher quality, that's why it's priced better.
Yeah, build quality.
Okay.
I mean, that's what you're assuming. I don't think that's what other people assume if they've listened to what I've said.
That's what they would assume based on what you said.
Absolutely not. Because I think you just picked that one point because you think
was the
you can
first
make
thing
a
that you
better
said.
point with Samsung.
Typically
Incorrect,
the first thing you
sir.
say is one of the most important things. You say quality first.
He's assuming. You know what they say about assume, right?
No.
I make an ass out of you and me. So that's just what it is.
Just going based off what he said here.
He's just grasping on straws here, you know what I'm saying?
Alrighty.
That's just what's going on.
Any other main points we would want to make based off the question I had asked? If not, let's move on
Samsung's
what do we
getting
think?
body
Keep
slammed.
the train moving.
Let's keep it
here.
moving. Okay.
By the
Delay the inevitable.
by the time
Mr.
we
Saj.
get to
So, so, so Apple's closed ecosystem
Sure.
versus Samsung's open system,
Hmm.
they both have their own merits and demerits. How do you think each of these strategies have shaped the experience of their users and impacted the tech world? Saj?
people always dog on Apple's closed ecosystem and they look at it as a drawback. I think of it as a strength because it allows for people to have a level of control that is solely focused on excellent performance and increased security, which Apple has put a lot of emphasis on over the years, and a cohesive, clean user experience. That this is not for, not to say that it's not like a drawback. I don't think it's a major drawback. I think it's a small part of it, and it's negligible now because everybody has been involved and adapted into that ecosystem. It's what everyone talks about. So what are we saying? I don't think people care too much. Like that guy that we met at the gym, who just went on and on about his Samsung Flip ecosystem. I was just listening to him. The reality is, so there was this guy in the sauna, James. Me and Jack sauna session. This guy, he's very interesting dude. He's very knowledgeable about a lot of things. He had his Samsung Flip phone, and Jack was
the new phone, the new Samsung phone. I was like,
The newest?
yeah, and then Jack was very intrigued, and it was like this flip thing, and then we started talking about it, and he went on and on about the ecosystem, and how he likes to customize. And I mean, anytime someone ever tells me that they want the ecosystem because they like to customize and put all these widgets and shit, I mean, like, how much time do you have? Are you really tinkering with your phone that allows you to do a million different things already, even if it wasn't customizable in this day and age? Why do you need that? It's just so crazy to me. And I don't understand. Like, are you 12?
So now we're
What?
making fun, making condescending
Hey,
comments
man.
about the other side. So before I kind of dive into Samsung,
Yeah.
you had mentioned in regards to Apple, it's a closed ecosystem, but
Mhm.
the customers have control. Do you mind kind of expanding on the kind of control that an Apple user would have, even though it's a closed ecosystem?
I didn't say they have control. I said they have a level of control.
What kind of level do
Just
they have?
allows the level of control on the overall performance. Just getting a product that is excellent in performance.
They have no control over that. Apple has control over that. What do you mean?
It's a consistency thing,
Okay.
man.
But nothing about the customers, more about Apple.
No, see, I think you're taking things out of context here. This
Oh.
is what typical media does. But let me try.
I mean,
to,
maybe I'm just misunderstanding. I'm just going based on what you
I
said.
think thank God this is our show and we can't take clippable moments out of this, But like Mr. Jack, here.
I'm misunderstanding. I just need some clarity here.
No, that's just your
In regards to the
misunderstanding what I'm
quality-
saying. Yeah,
Yeah, go
it's not quality. What? We're not talking about quality now.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. Control. We're talking about the consistency of the products. Again, a lot of people complain about, oh man, the iPhone 13 doesn't look too different from the iPhone 12. I think I used to be one of those people, but as you evolve and start taking into this, the overall consistency is always there. You're never going to see a drop off between an iPhone 12 and an iPhone 14 when it comes to build quality. The software is constantly improving, the operating system. But as opposed to, again, same sauna guy example. He was talking about a Samsung One and a couple of other phones that were inconsistent with the build that came out 2 years ago, and then what the phones that came out now that are inconsistent with what was what was being used. My brother-in-law is a Samsung person. He's an Android person.
Yeah.
And he uses a phone that was like 4 years old, and it's pretty damn good.
Apple or Samsung?
Samsung.
Okay.
I forget what it was, but the reality is, like, it's not consistent. You don't have a consistent, unanimous brand that you follow, that you look forward to. Maybe now it is, but the portion, if you look at the stats, even universally, I think it's tiny from Apple to Samsung. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. I mean, thanks for, I guess, addressing my question here. Now, in regards to Samsung, obviously, based on what Saj said, very different ecosystem, Samsung versus Apple. Samsung traditionally much more Open source allows people to be able to kind of customize a little bit more, have a little bit more freedom. And to be honest with you, like for me, I think this really just depends on like the kind of person that you are and what kind of experience you're looking for as a user. Not to say, like personally, again, not to say that one's better than the other. I don't really think that is the case. It's just really based on your personal preference, what you'd like to do. If you're more of a technology-oriented kind of guy, you might go with Android because you want to do modifications and do all these different kinds of things. However, Samsung's been incredibly consistent with their platforms. I mean, let's make no mistake about it, right? You just said your brother-in-law was using a phone that was 4 years old, right? And it was working good.
Yeah.
Right?
But it's not consistent. That's the point. It's like he's using an old phone because it's a better build than a newer phone.
Well, I mean, do you know that's what he said?
Yeah.
I disagree with that. But what I'm kind of
disagree
alluding
with what
to,
he said?
I don't know. How can that even be true?
That's exactly the point, man. They don't really have any one-track products. It's just Samsung this, Samsung that, Samsung Fold, Samsung Flip Your Face. I don't know. Well, what do they got going on that's like consistent?
I can tell you. I mean, I'd say I can disagree in regards to the performance. Okay. Now, what I can say though is. Actually, I'll save it. I'm not sure if we're going to cover this in the debate here. We've spoken a lot about this.
Mr. Moderator.
Yep. So the reason I held off, I thought you were going to speak about it, but it actually leads into our next question, if what I think you were about to say is true. So the next question is, both Apple and Samsung have had their fair share of controversies. Which controversy do you think has had the most impact on each company and why? Saj.
I think the most significant for me would probably be the San Bernardino case between Apple and FBI, the shooting. Do you remember that or no? It's
Some
like
of it.
2015, 2016. Basically, the FBI wanted to unlock this guy's phone.
Yeah, they wouldn't let him, right?
Yep, and it was a testament to Apple just commitment, right, to user privacy. And I think that was really, really important because they didn't give in.
Right.
Eventually. And I think that's stirred up a lot of controversy, a lot of discussions on what's right, what's wrong. But honestly, if you had any doubts about their commitment to their policies and their brand's vision and mission statement, look at that case. So it's.
I think it's an interesting point. Now, one thing I would also like to shed light on from a controversy standpoint is, Saj, my co-host, what would you say to the controversy that was proved to be true, that Apple was purposely slowing down past models of the iPhone in order for people to purchase new ones, so intentionally making their old models break? Moderator's getting a good kick out of this.
Yeah, because moderator realizing this is a jab rather than an answer to the Samsung question.
If we're talking about controversy, I think this is very important.
I will
here.
say
so
that this was a big controversy for me too with Apple.
Okay,
I love Apple. I love Apple.
User.
I love Apple. I probably stick with Apple forever. But that's a big thing that
what did you
I'm
do
not a
about
fan
it?
of.
What did you do about it?
No, don't deflect the question. What would you say in regards to the brand? What does that say about the brand, being that you just got done saying they care about their users and their brand? Does this help the brand?
What did you do about it? You're an avid Apple user. What did you do about it? Did you return your phone? Did you break it? Did you smash it?
I bought a new phone.
New what?
A new iPhone.
Why? Why are you still buying into this?
I was forced to buy a new iPhone.
Or forced.
When I couldn't afford it.
Held a gun to your head.
My phone wasn't working, couldn't make calls or text, so essentially, yes.
I'm saying, why didn't you go to a $200 Samsung?
No. Why did Apple do that? Stop! Don't deflect my question. You can't answer a question with a question here. Let's get something straight. It's my turn to speak. I'm asking you a question. You
Mr.
made
Producer here, I think he gets a 0 on this question because he's not answering.
Listen, I'm not gonna let. No, you can't dodge this question.
I refuse to answer your allegations on Apple.
This is not an allegation.
This
is
a
reputed
controversy
that became true. There was a lawsuit involved.
Yeah, the first thing I thought of when I saw the word controversy was actually the slowing down of iPhones.
That was proven to be true. So what would you say? What kind of...
What's your question? Let me see if I
will say, Jack...
I will
tone
gi-
down
I
a little
will- I
bit.
don't think-
Stop jabbing. Stop attacking.
I don't
so
think he
much.
gets to
thought.
answer this
I
question
will
on
put some
behalf of
thought to
Samsung, and I
Samsung.
think he gets negative points on this, and we move to the next point. But I will answer this question. What is your question? Just clearly give it to me in one sentence. It'll be the
okay.
last bit on this.
Okay. For context,
Okay, context.
in your answer, you'd mentioned, Apple is always trying to. You've had the fair share of controversies. Okay, you explained about the
Just
data.
hit me with it, and I heard the whole spiel. What is the question, man?
If you are saying Apple's committed to their brand and user base,
Okay.
why would they slow down older phones to make their customers purchase newer and more expensive phones if they cared that much about their brand and the consistency of their brand and their customer base?
You're asking me like I have a direct telepathic connection to Tim Cook's brain on why he did it. The answer is question isn't why. What you should be asking is what did they do about it? Did they admit to it? Did they lose the case? What happened to the lawsuit? None of these answers I have because at the end of the day, I don't care about this little problem. You know why?
Little?
Because you're looking at a guy that upgrades their iPhone every
Little.
time a new
Little
one comes out. So I don't really care.
Millions of
I will
Apple-
say though, what happens for the people that can't upgrade the new phone when the new one comes out?
I mean-
what happens then?
Too bad. Just stick
for
with a slow phone.
millions of Apple's customers.
Hey, we got to move on.
I mean,
here.
listen,
he's just
millions
going on
of
and on.
Apple
This-
customers
we're-
couldn't
we're
upgrade their phones.
We're spiraling out of control.
Jack, any thoughts on any Samsung controversies?
Yeah,
Anything?
yep.
No,
I can-
he doesn't get to answer that now. He does not get to answer that after wasting 7-8 minutes on that section. We're moving on.
Wow.
You get
All
zero
right,
for
all
that.
right, all
no
right, all right.
shot.
All right.
This guy. Is
So-
he gonna keep picking on me, man? Is that what it is?
I
This
can-
is
I can
tactic
tell you
winning
this.
the debate.
I could tell you this: Samsung never did that.
So
I
when
can say.
Samsung has nothing to stand on, I guess like that's the easiest strategy is to
Nothing to
pick on
stand
little
on.
things. You
Do
know,
you think that's little?
Add
Making
value to the
millions of
debate.
Americans purchase a phone they can't afford and go on credit card debt?
you gotta actually
you
add
think,
value to
you,
this.
You think
Shut the
that's a program?
All right,
All right.
we gotta move.
Next question. When we talk about the global reach and market share, both brands have different standings in various regions. Can you share your insights on how each brand strategy plays out on the global
Yeah,
stage?
why don't you go first?
Jack,
Sure. The people want me to go first. So, now obviously, it's no secret that Samsung dominates the global market. The question is why? And kind of piggybacking off of what we had just spent 15 minutes, because Saj was dodging my question, all those sorts of things. Kind of what it leads to is they provide a product that's affordable and that works every single time. And the reality is, outside of the United States, it's very affordable and it's very easy to get your hands on. So that I think that plays a huge role on why they dominate the global market. Now, it's not to say that Apple has such a crazy overhaul in customer base in the U.S., right? But Apple does win that, sure. But make no mistake about it, there's plenty of people in the United States that own a Samsung and use Samsung products. Let's also not forget, Samsung doesn't just have phones, right? They have TVs and electronics and all sorts of stuff. So that's kind of would be my insights in regards to the global stage of Samsung.
I mean, Apple's global outlook or image, I would say, is premium, desirable, exclusive. I think in many regions, owning an Apple device is considered prestigious. Like I told you, it's a status symbol. I come from I've lived out of a lot of my life out of the country. I know how people look at that product. Like if someone's walking around and most of the people have like again, when I was living in Kuwait, it was like Blackberries and Motorola's and Siemens and all kinds of different devices, Nokias.
Yeah.
When someone came with the first iPhone or for first 2-3 gens, it would be like, holy shit, how did you get it? It's astronomical. The number one reason why Samsung and other Android devices have market share outside of the United States is because of affordability. There's no other reason why. That's the only reason why.
So how
It's
come they've stayed on top for so long if it's just
affordability? And now they're going towards the premium side. The flip phone costs what, $1,400? Why can't they make it? Can they sell it for $400? Yeah. If you look at their build cost, compared to, I mean, that's the market that they're in. They don't have.
Well, typically what happens if we're doing the price cutting game, let's say I price cut you, and I'm getting customers, James price cuts me, and then the cycle continues, and then there's really no real.
Well, there's no
leader.
price cutting when it comes to Apple versus Samsung. Apple's on a different wavelength, man.
Well, no, I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is you'd mentioned, the reason why Samsung has customers because of the price.
Well, Samsung's undercutting their competitors, the other Android device competitors. They have competitors. There's Huawei. There's OnePlus, whatever that is. There's so many competitors they have in the global market of smartphones. Samsung is not the only dominator. There are other players involved.
Well, how come? So yes, I agree with you. So now, why do you think Samsung's kind of stayed on top for so long, though, in regards to the global market?
I don't know. That's for you to answer. Is he going to answer that? I guess not.
I thought you would.
Do
answer
you have
that.
an answer for that or no? Either of you?
Reliability. It's simple. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you got a Samsung device that's reliable. Oh, which one? What's the name of it?
Galaxy.
Galaxy.
S23 Galaxy. The new one.
23 Galaxy. How much did it set you back? How much did it cost when you bought it?
I don't know, over $1,000, I think.
Wow. Very affordable, huh?
Well, compared to what? How much is a new iPhone?
Same price.
No, it's not. It's not
Like $1,100.
No.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. The smallest one is
between like 11 and 14.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
So
as we move on, yes. And the next question: as we look towards the future, do you see Apple and Samsung adapting to emerging trends and technologies? Saj.
Yes. Apple just had WWDC, which is the developers conference. They announced some really cool stuff there. I mean, Apple's been focusing on Apple TV Plus, Apple Fitness Plus, the desire to continuously to build out the ecosystem even wider, outside of what it already exists. Then now they've also reinvigorated the metaverse space with Apple Vision Pro. It's just the VR goggles, which is going to be a game changer. It looks pretty cool. Just still pretty bulky, though.
Those VR goggles are expensive, though.
Yeah. Samsung's most likely going to come up with a $150 version of that, but the reality is it's not going to be that. It's going to be a little cardboard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
how much was the Oculus?
I don't know.
I'll answer. $400. In what world do we need to charge $3,500 for that?
Premium,
You
desirability,
You don't.
luxury,
It's built in China.
status
You
symbol.
don't. It's built in China.
Yeah?
You don't.
Yeah?
You don't.
So
It's
you're not going to
simple.
wear
But
one?
what I will
You're not
say,
going to use one?
What I will say
Mm-hmm.
is in regards to Apple versus Samsung, that is something that Apple does very well. Is kind of always doing something new. Like I had saw the conference and the eyewear, and like it looks sick. Like it looks sick.
It looks amazing.
It looks so cool.
It
And
looks
aesthetically, it looks better than anything
The
else.
design, the
Really
build
good.
quality.
We don't know
they-
the quality. You don't have one.
They ran
so.
into production issues because of how high and complex the quality was. Now they're estimating that instead of having, I think, like 1 million devices, they're only expecting to produce like 300,000. So this first also, by the way, I just want to say to everybody listening, jokes aside, if you have the capacity to put aside $3,500 to go and buy this product, even if you're not going to use it,
Collector's item, you're saying?
just keep it in its saran wrap, buy it, and just hold it, put it in a shelf, forget about it, because this $3,500. Just go look at how much the first iPhone or the first Apple Watch that's saran wrapped in the first release that they've had. Just look at how much it sold for. It's like in 10 years, we're talking about holding it for maybe 8 to 10 years.
Good point.
Do you have any? I'm actually curious myself on that point. Do you have any price it sold for? Any metric to that, or
There was one that was sold just recently.
I can tell you that it was like 60, 70, 80,000.
Or like the
I thought it was like
multiplier?
660.
of it?
I think it varies,
How much?
right? Like 60, 70K.
Oh my
But
god!
I think it could be crazier than that, but I know that it was. So for some,
63,000. I just saw it right here. I'm looking at it.
63,000, yeah. So, but here's
In
the thing:
February.
that's for a device that sold for what, $700, $600. But this is $3,500. This is going to be
it's going to be
potentially
in the
100K
hundreds of
plus.
thousands, Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
This is the first gen. It's not about the fact that we're going to have cooler devices. This is as a collector's piece of history. This is the first time Apple is about to release this technology Like, think about it. The Apple Watch, the Apple Pen, the iPad, the MacBooks, they have iterations of it. Doesn't matter anymore. But the first Mac that ever came out, if you find it saran wrapped, perfectly mint condition, untouched, that probably sold for maybe 10, 15, 20,000. So something to think about.
So, circling back.
Right. Sorry, I digress.
Circling back here.
Well, what you got?
In regards to new technology, Samsung is opening or has opened like an AI department, which I think will be cool. There's really not much information about it. But what they did unfold in one of their new kind of product launches is micro LED technology. They're going to be launching some of the largest, they call it the wall.
Okay.
It's one of the largest 4K TVs on the market. We're talking about 146 inches.
Oh, wow.
And it's thin as paper.
Oh, that's sick.
And with the new technology, the micro LED, essentially what it does is it displays more of like an immersive experience view with high resolution. And again, nothing else is out there like this that's this big. And we're talking about 146 inches. It's like you're going to the movie theater, which is out of this world insane. And then something also that I actually didn't know before looking at it was they're also starting to get into the realm of creating and developing EV charging stations. So I think that could be very lucrative too for them. So we'll see what happens.
The other one's cool though.
We will see. So just a few more questions here.
Sure.
Privacy has become a significant talking point in the tech industry. How are Apple and Samsung addressing the issue, and what does it mean for their future? Jack, would you like to give your stance on this?
Sure.
Because there's so many things I feel like you could cover when it comes to.
Well,
privacy.
what I can say is like, to my knowledge, there's never been a crazy data leak on Samsung's side. What I can also say is, when it comes down to protecting the privacy, they do that through their open source system, right? So they don't have you in a controlled box at all. They don't take all the data from you, look at the privacy terms and conditions and all the different apps and things like that.
Open source is more risky, you know that, right?
Well, it's in the user's hands. Same thing, kind of arguing with decentralized, right? It's in the user's hands, so you kind of play at your own risk. So if you know what you're doing, which a lot of times if you're a Samsung user, you're willing and you're able to play at your own risk, you don't have to worry about Tim Cook looking over your shoulder and seeing what your keystrokes are and, your data and everything
It's
like that.
actually factually incorrect. There's some. Are you done?
Go ahead.
So other than that, Apple's focus on user privacy improved with something called app tracking transparency. I don't like that. Every time you download an app and all those things, that demonstrates commitment to user privacy, and that's something that Apple has improved upon year over year. What's a significant thing that Samsung has done other than open source? Nothing.
Do you tell me Samsung doesn't have that same sort of pop-up? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, they probably copied it.
Okay. So what you just said Samsung also does, right?
I think Google Play does it. Google does it when we're talking about apps. But Samsung devices in specific
have that same pop-up. So continue.
Yeah.
Please. Yep.
Can you customize the color of that pop-up? I think that's cool. That's cute.
Any other points that we would like to make on that question?
Wasn't there also another case with Apple where they had like some terrorist or someone that was deemed to be a terrorist, and the FBI wanted to get into their phone and they let them?
We just talked about it.
No. In your case with the John, they didn't let them. What I'm talking about is they did let them. There's another case where they did let
I don't know
them.
about these speculations, man. You got to give me some actual facts.
Okay. One moment,
We
please.
don't have time for this.
No, we do.
Well,
we do.
While you
looks
do
it
your
up.
research, I'm going
We
to
need to
move
start
on and
wrapping,
ask
yeah.
a new question.
Yeah,
and
go
then
right
I'll
ahead.
have Saj answer first,
Yes.
so give you
Mr.
your time.
Moderator, I would
Perfect.
also
Perfect.
just like to say how he was severely underprepared for this. He's doing research live on the show here. You know.
For those
pulling at
listening,
strings
for
here.
those listening, I'm
Some
not
might
sure
say
how
this
much
is
of a
a-
case Apple has for winning this debate. I mean,
Some might say
for someone that's underprepared, you've been getting outclassed.
some
here.
might say Saj the debater has a 2-0 record at this point.
Oh,
So that's how that's my case.
we'll let the people decide.
All right.
I might need a championship belt on the third one.
Double champ, maybe?
Double back to back double champ.
So, next question. Both Apple and Samsung are leaders in innovation. What are some upcoming developments from each company that you're excited about, and how might they shape the future of tech? Saj.
I think I talked about this, the Apple Vision Pro. I'm super excited for just that one product, but I also think that one of the coolest things, man, that I am super excited about that is not public news yet because it's more of like a speculation is the Apple Car. You guys heard about that?
Yes.
I think that'll be really cool.
Is that just a concept thing, though, you think?
What do you think?
No.
Like, what is it exactly?
I think there might be like a patent out.
Okay.
But I don't.
Is it electric? It's got to be. I'm assuming.
I saw
for sure.
Concept design, right?
I don't know if the concept design is accurate, but I know that they patented or registered something for it to kind of be picked up in the news. But but Apple also does 50 million things in R&D. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know what's gonna actually see daylight or not. But yeah. What about you? What are you?
I think it's something that's cool. I mean, is the EV chargers. I think it's something unique. It's something new that it's not really. It's kind of like not really in like their area of expertise.
What's unique about EV chargers though?
I think for Samsung to produce them, they don't need to do it, but they are. You know, so I wonder what will happen, and also because they're in such high demand right now. To my knowledge, there's no company that it's like when you think of EV chargers, think of that company, right? So it's kind of a space open for taking, and that might be a good kind of realm for them to start playing in if they can efficiently kind of get that done. And then also the TV that I mentioned before, the wall, crazy.
I think that's cooler. But paper thin TV, is it rollable? Does it roll in and out?
No, but from what I've read, like they made it so that the setup's very easy.
It's like a stick on.
Yeah, not a stick on, but they like you mount something on the wall like in a couple places, and then it's very easy to kind of assemble. So,
okay,
146 inches is a big TV. Also, side note here, reported in 2020, Apple shares about 90% of their customer data with the U.S. government. 90%. But
all right, you feel good? You feel great about that?
I'm just putting that information out for the people to decide in regards to Apple caring about their customers, slowing down their phones, leaking data.
All right.
That's all.
I'm so happy for you, man. You really needed that one. I feel like you needed that one.
I didn't need it. Our viewers needed to decide who formally took the upper hand in this debate here.
Okay. Right.
So, as we kind of wrap up here, I think this was a really fun debate here.
Yeah, for sure.
I had a lot of fun. I had some funny moments, some funny points here. As we kind of close out, do you have anything that you want to close out with? No,
but follow me on TikTok. I just launched a TikTok a couple weeks ago. SAJVENTURES, Saj Ventures. For more tips and tricks on how Apple's killing the game. So
love that. And as always, guys, we appreciate you. You can find us on Apple, Spotify. I did that one for you.
Yeah.
YouTube, as always. And until next time, we'll see you soon.
Good night.
Yeah, venture hustles, life is really what you make it. Building up your brand, it's whatever you create it. Really ain't no limit, you just gotta love it. Working day and night, it's all about the venture hustle. Hey, venture hustles, time to take it to the next level. Let's go.